Alright, we're working on Ashokan Farwell, the beginning melody. This is first violins measure 1 until 31. And so I'm just going to play phrase by phrase. We're going to talk about some of the things that we want to make sure that we're achieving in this piece. Now, this is 72 beats per minute, and when you record this, you're going to have a click track to play along with. But for now, I'm just going to count. Our first entrance is on beat 3. 1, 2. Alright, that was the first of the 4 phrases from the beginning. Now, the beginning dynamic is piano, and this is the second time through. So this is with all of the violins, not just the solos, which will be played by the seniors. And so even though it says piano, I'm not thinking soft. I'm thinking beautiful. And if I play too loud, it's just gonna be way too aggressive, and we don't want that. Now right away you're gonna see that this piece has a lot of bowings. Please make sure you're doing the bowings that are written in. So there's down and ups, and if you get backwards, just fix it. It's not a huge deal if you get off for a second, but just really quickly fix it, because we want to see everyone's bow going in the right direction, and if you don't adjust it, then it looks a little bit awkward. One thing to consider in this piece is that it is totally legato, so everything is really connected. Now we do have some pauses at the end of phrase, but we don't totally add any beats or anything. It's just a brief silence at the end of some of the phrases. So let's look at one of the long notes. In measure 2, at F sharp, we want to make sure that F sharp still connects to the E, even though it's kind of a held out note. So you're going to hear that I play that legato. It's kind of tempting to play it, but we really want to make sure that it's flowing because it's supposed to be a lyrical melody. Now going towards the end of that phrase in measure 6, we've got some quarter notes. So I'm looking at the pick up to 6, F sharp, A, D, F sharp. Actually we can start in 5, totally the beginning of 5. This is actually just a D major arpeggio, so we're alternating between the notes in the D major chord. And really important to keep the bow moving through this, but also to be fingering ahead. So as I'm playing each note, I'm either fingering the next note if it's on a different string, or I'm getting that finger ready to go. I have the D down, have F sharp down. That'll help make it really connected if you play and don't have the fingers down before you start the note. It's hard to start the note with everything that you need. Alright, let's go look at the next phrase. This is measure 9 until 17. Pick up to 9. 1, 2. So again, we have those quarter notes that really need to be connected. They even wrote tenutos on them because I think they realized it might be easy to play those separate. So really practice those. And one way to do that is to put the notes in that chord down. So I have D down, I have F sharp down on the E string and on the D string. And so that looks like that. You kind of practice putting that shape down. Then you're just playing either those notes or open. And that'll help it be really smooth. Alright, going into 17, this is the third phrase. So in this phrase, really important to pay attention to the rhythms. We've had some dotted quarter eighth note rhythms in this piece already. Like at 17, we have this one. And 19, we have. So both of those are the same. They're 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3. At measure 20, we have a eighth note first and then a dotted quarter. And so you're thinking about subdividing that measure of 3, 4 into 6 eighth notes. 1 and 2 and 3 and. So when you get to measure 20, the first eighth note is on beat 1. Then following that, the dotted quarter is on the and of 1. 1 and. The last note is on beat 3. So you're thinking 1 and 2 and 3. Let's play that measure a couple times. At measure 20, just measure 20. So 1, 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and. The next measure is another dotted quarter note, kind of tricky. Remember, dotted quarters are worth 3 of those eighth notes. So that's 1 and 2. The following note, measure 21, that E is on the and of 2. 1 and 2 and the last quarter is on beat 3. So 1 and 2 and 3. Let's play that measure. This is 21. 1, 2, 3. 2 and 3. And that's okay to play open, actually. That works better. Here I go. 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2. Those are two spots that are kind of tricky to get totally in time. I worry that some people might be playing the first of those two measures, measure 20, with a shorter eighth note. Or even this one. And now if you're playing the song alone, you're the soloist, maybe it's okay to play it like that because it's a folk song and you can kind of make it your own. But since we're playing it in a section, we need everybody to be counting it exactly the same. Let's try both of those measures together. This is measure 20. 1 and 2 and 3. One more time. 1 and 2 and 3. Keep going. Slow bow. So when we get to that A note, and it's over 2 bars, low A to high A, 5 beats total, and that's a long time in this kind of slower tempo. However, you need to use a very slow bow. I'm not even starting at the frog here, I'm just starting in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. You will probably have to practice getting that A in tune as well. But really slow bow because the focus is not on dynamics. We're decrescendoing here. Let's try that for measure 22. 1, 2, 3. Slow bow. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Quarters. Now C natural. C sharp. So we've had our first accidental in this piece, and we haven't talked about the key. The normal key of this piece is in D major, and so that means we've got C sharp, which is scale degree 7, and F sharp, which is scale degree 3. And those two notes are so important because it really defines the harmony via half steps. So with scale degree 7 being that C sharp, you hear the pull back to 1. So when there's a C natural, you're not going to have that pull up to 1, but you're actually going to have the pull down to B. And so half steps are always pulling either up or down to a note. And in this case, that C natural is actually borrowed from a different key. And so they're borrowing this chord from a whole other key, the key of G, and they want you to make sure that you're playing a low C natural. So in this instance, it doesn't go down to B natural right away. It goes up to a D and then down to a B. So it still goes down to a B, but let's try from the pickup to 25 with that C natural. 1, 2, 1, 2. There it is. See how that feels like the resting tone now, because they took that C natural and that helps kind of create a temporary different key. Now we totally add that C sharp back in. Now we're at 29 and we have legato quarter notes. Bowing was backward there. Let's try this measure. This is measure 31. That C sharp is going to pull up. Remember, half steps pull either up or down to a note. And so this is going to pull up to a D. And so if we don't play that quite in tune, it totally sounds out of place. So the C sharps in this piece on the G string are super important. We are lucky that we don't really have that many C sharps on the G string for the main melody. The violin 2 and viola section and cellos definitely have more. But this is one time where we do have that. So we need to make sure that we're playing C sharp high. One way to do that, D 4th finger. Because you can use that 4th finger being in tune to push your 3rd finger right up against it and make sure it's high enough. Alright folks, so that is the 1st through 31st measure of this piece, Ashokan Farwell, and you want to remember legato, lyrical playing. The half steps, are they pulling up or down? And allowing your fingers to be set ahead of time for really continual legato playing.